Hello and welcome. I'm Jason L. Jones, and you're watching Head to Head with UATV. Ukrainian school children have been ranked with a 2018 program for the International Student Assessment, otherwise known as the PISA. PISA measures how well 15-year-olds utilize their reading, mathematical, and science knowledge and skills in meeting real-life challenges. To talk more about the results of this test, we are joined today by Nataliya Shulga, a senior expert and on education and science at the Reanimation project, a package of reform. Hello, Nataliya. It's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Please explain to us where Ukraine ranked on this, or it's still establishing as we were previously discussing. But
right, the PISA provides tons of data because it's not only testing the 15 years children from different type of schools, which represents the whole population of 15 years old children of the country. It also requires children and their parents fill the questionnaires, very extended questionnaires. So from that information, we can judge the economical status of the children, the school type. Is it private? Is it lyceum or gymnasium? Or it's an average school? Or it's specialized school? So it's tons of information, which is very critical for strategic planning for education in the country. But for the testing, it also shows different scores of the different type of schools, different type of children come from different backgrounds, including children with special needs and so on. So by this cumulative criteria, the shocking information for Ukrainian educational professionals was that we expected that our system, our education system, we believe it's the best in the world, but it would be at least above the average of the countries members of OECD, which actually administers this test since 2000. But unfortunately, we are close to the average, but below the average by all criteria. That was very disappointing discovery. But I think it's very important because it shows us the way that our current reform goes in the right direction.
Okay, so you you brought up one of my other questions that if the data showed, or if the PISA looked at other factors like, whether it was testing in a bigger city or a small city and things like that, economical differences. So were there differences?
It's average. That's the point. Because inside of this data group, you can see how students perform when they study at the small villages or the big cities like Kharkiv, Kiev, Odessa, where more than 1 million people resides, and schools system are more developed, more diverse, I would say. So you can have this subset of data and you can judge if the whole structure of education system provides the equal opportunities for all children, or it's diverse because of economical status from the city settings and stuff like that. So it's a very powerful informational database for now. And because we decided to subscribe to PISA in 1916, before the basic law on education was ratified by our parliament. So it was a long process, but because we adopted the new concept of children-centered education called New Ukrainian School, and it was adopted through the basic law, we now show that our previous results did not provide a good educational outcome for the children. So our new concept, which based on knowledge from the PISA, from the previous years of PISA in the different countries, we realized that we need to change our education system more to the competency level, not just remembering a lot of data and learning just some subjects. So the learning subjects which may help you with some contest, world contests, some Olympiads, world Olympiads, but it's for the very small group of children. But if you talk about the total education system and what we would like to see in our citizens in years to come, then we come to the competencies. And you need to change the education process to prepare children for the life, for the real life. And by participating in PISA, we see now that we choose the right concept, but it will take us years to move toward this pathway to improve the competency level of our teenagers.
So in what way do you think these things could be improved? Like what?
It's already started improving. It's already started improving because the first year of reform started on September 1 last year. 2018. So reform is for 12 years. So every year we're supposed to improve. But having this data now, we have a very strong argument how to prepare teachers, first of all, for these new challenges. We need to teach teachers for the new methodologies, how to switch from just remembering some data to using the data in the modern life setting. And that's the biggest challenge. And also for the teenager, for the children, to think that at 15s, they need to make a choice, what kind of profession they would like to choose, who they want to become. So it's a challenge for parents, for children, for teachers, and for the whole society to support reform of education, secondary education in Ukraine.
Okay. And why was it that the primary three subjects that were focused on to measure the students' achievements, why were those chosen above all?
Because literacy, it's understandable, because if you can understand text and you can work with the text, it's a foundation for your thinking in your life. If you cannot work with text, if you cannot understand, if you cannot take the information from the text or even use it for presenting or whatever, you will not be able to understand any other subject. Mathematics, it's a logic. So if you can use this logic to solve the life questions, without mathematics, you will not be able even to budget your family, to count how much money you need to progress with your higher education or your household or whatever. It's a basic logical concept. And logic also helps with the critical thinking, which is important in modern world. We know that there is a terminology like post-truth society. Why is that? Because people sometimes cannot distinguish between truth and lie. And if they do not have the skills, which comes with the mathematical skills, the simple logic, investigate, find the foundation, find the solution, what is critical about this information, you will not be able to actually live successfully. And science becomes headline news. The most discoveries, more technology comes from the basic research, from the scientific exploration. For children, they can talk to you easily about the planning on going to Mars, because the Elon Musk, not only produced the tremendous new technology for space tourism or going around the planet, they also speak seriously about colonization of Moon and then Mars. So without scientific knowledge, nowadays nobody can actually do any progress in any industry, technology, and other important things, health, for example, longevity, fighting diseases. This is very, very important modern task, which are global and also always based on scientific research.
Okay.
So that's why.
Which is understandable. And you were speaking earlier about this kind of, there was a surprise, that, it's like coming from this post-Soviet mentality of like, we're going to, knock this out the water, and then this happened. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because Belarus tested very closely to Ukraine.
Yes.
So do you think,
Russia too.
And Russia. So why do you think that there was that connection in that regard?
Oh, because it was very, the previous Soviet education, which produced this myth about the best education in the world, was based on so-called intensive model. It means that the child should learn, study, a lot of information, a lot of memorization. And basically all the test books were constructed in a way that you have to test your memory again and again and again and again. It was nothing to do with applying this knowledge in your real life. That's why many people then cannot remember what they study, even at the university. Because if they do not use it in life, it's like they spend time, but and they don't use this knowledge.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
And then the system which was built in Scandinavian countries, and specifically Finland, which based a completely different approach. It's not intensive model, it's a comfortable model of learning, when they spend time very earlier, when they provide the comfortable environment for kids, so they learn to love to study, to love to acquire some knowledge through the project style education. So that's why when they say in Finland students don't have any homework, it's not correct. It's not like that type of Soviet type of homework. They do the project, so they involve their parents, they involve their another children as a friends to do the project together. So they have this inside inspiration coming to learn something through the project like learning. So it's a different thing. Okay. So that's why this myth of the best education in the world was actually canceled by this study, because it shows that yes, you can memorize a lot of data, you can memorize a lot of things, but in real life, it's not what you need. You need completely different skills. And those new skills called competencies, it means that not only memorizing, because now you can go to Wikipedia, every child has a smartphone. What's the meaning of memorizing?
Okay.
But you need to develop skills on how to acquire information, how to work with this information, what you can use to produce the new stuff, or new technologies, or new industries, whatever in your life to be successful.
Well, thank you so much. That's man, we could stay on this so much. I love this topic, but I'm glad we got a chance to go into it. Or I wish we have to say goodbye now, but I'm glad we got to talk about this, and hopefully we'll see some better results in the future as these reforms move on in the next decade or so. So
it can be discussed for the next 3 years.
Yes, it will be. It will be. Hopefully, it will be. So thank you so much, Nataliya.
Thank you too.
You're welcome. And so this was Nataliya Shulga, a senior expert on education and science at Reanimation Package of Reform. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more UATV.